Hello, everybody. I hope you are here. I have a guest coming in. Her name is Hope, and she is with the AYUSA organization that helps uh, kids from international locations get sponsored by U.S. homes. Hello, Hope. Are you there? You're muted.
Hi, how are you?
Let me. I have questions for you. I just need to find them.
You do. I have answers.
I can't hear you, ma'am. I went. Oh, hold on, hold on.
Hmm,
Let's try. Yay! I hear you now.
there we go.
Now I run into this periodically. Here we go. And I need to check the stream. Hi, Hope. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And I am just going to be a minute. I have to check the stream. We are live on Facebook.
Excellent.
Say hi, Facebook.
Hello, Facebook. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Here we are. We are live. Woohoo! Thank you for being here. So, to the community, the podcast radio community, and PDX Progressive Talk Radio, today I am here joined by Hope Walter, a local representative for the AYUSA, a nonprofit organization dedicated to building a global understanding through student exchange. AYUSA connects international high school students with American host families, creating meaningful cross cultural experiences, whether for a full school year or just a few weeks. Hosting a student can be a life changing experience for both the student and the family. And Hope is here to walk us through what it looks like and how families can get involved. And that was the last question I forgot to put on my list. And
That's okay.
to bust some common myths about what it takes to open your home and heart to a young person from across the globe, or, just even Costa Rica or South America, just anywhere. Thank you, Hope. I really appreciate you being here. Can you tell us about yourself and your involvement with AYUSA?
Sure. I have been working with international exchange for about 20 years. I got started because somebody asked me to host a student at the 0 hour. The 0 hour for us is August when school is starting and kids are waiting back in their home country and don't have a host family and are in danger of not getting to be able to come on
Wow.
exchange. And so somebody had asked my husband and I, are you willing to take a student for a couple of weeks? And so we said yes. And that's what started our journey. And so then I volunteered for about 15 years, helping to place students into families' homes what I could. And then it became a career. And so I've been doing that for, a nice bit of time. I've hosted 14 students from around the world,
Wow.
and
Wow.
I've placed hundreds of students from, I don't know, 25, 30, probably different countries around the world, and met amazing students, amazing host families, and connected globally with people and life altering experiences. So
That
it's
is
an amazing,
incredible.
yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing experience. And it is difficult to find families because people feel that it is such a huge undertaking. And I think that's probably one of the biggest myths. I mean, yes, you are taking somebody's child, and that is a great responsibility. But I think that people don't see the vast benefit to taking a student, to what they gain. They see what it might take to bring another student into their lives, but they don't see the benefits that they get from it.
That's if you haven't done it, how are you going to know? So, can you
Exactly.
walk us? Can you, what do you wish people understood more about hosting an international student through AYUSA?
Sure. I broke it down into three things. Um, you said, what do I wish people understand? And in the home, what I wish I people understood more is that it's not as difficult as you think. If you can put one more plate on your table, if you can feed one more mouth, you can likely host. As
Right.
long as you have an extra bed, they can share a room with a same-sex sibling. And if you can feed one more mouth, you can likely host. Um, and so that's not as big of a deal. We match you with a student that will fit your lifestyle and your family's lifestyle. So having an extra student in your house isn't a huge difference as long as you put a student in your home that is similar to your family and your family's lifestyle. Um, Secondly, I wish people understood that this person is there to be a part of their family. Um, you will learn from the student. You will gain a family member, not a guest, not somebody that you need to entertain constantly. You are gaining from this experience just as much and sometimes even more than the student. You are adding a sister or a brother or a son or a daughter. And so you are going to gain recipes, you are going to gain traditions, you are going to gain memories. And so there are so many benefits that you will get from this experience that, yes, it's a little extra driving sometimes. Yes, it's a little bit of extra money for food. But really, these kids come with insurance, they come with spending money, they come with ambition. These are 15 to 18-year-olds getting up and leaving everything they know to jump into a whole new world.
Right.
These are go-getters, so they're not kids that are generally going to sit around and do nothing. And then third, sometimes we'll get people saying, well, why don't you help people in the community? Our kids do help the community. They are an asset to our community. Most of our kids will do community service. We have a special group of students that are actually required to do community service. They benefit our community. They do community service hours. They bring
Hmm.
education and understanding into our schools. They enhance our school and our student body. They sometimes are our top performing students in our schools. And so, just the different perspective, if you put one of our students into a history class, those history teachers love them because they get a different perspective on US history, world history, modern history, and it's fascinating.
Oh, of course. And I've always been curious about hosting a foreign exchange student. I wanted to be one at one time. Can
Yes.
you?
And if you don't know an exchange student or you haven't had an experience with an exchange student, you may have wanted to be one, or you may have traveled and been like, oh, I wish I would have done this earlier. It's almost like, well, I didn't get to do this, but I might be able to live vicariously through this. And
Right.
and yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can do that.
Yes, you can. So, I'm curious, can you walk us through the steps a family would take to become a host? And what
Yes.
does the process look like from start to finish?
Sure. The first thing that you do is you apply online. We do have a very thorough application process. Just like if you were sending your child away, you would want to make sure that they were safe. And so
Right.
we have strong expectations. And so you fill out an application. We do a background check. We do reference checks. We come into your home and we take photos of various locations in the house, like the student bedroom, the student bathroom, a family photo, a front picture of your home, your living room area, your kitchen area. We make sure that it meets the requirements of the Department of State because the students come in on a J-1 visa, which is part of the Department of State requirements for them to be allowed to come into the United States for this program. Um, Once that is cleared and approved, once their application is approved, once we check their references, once we do that host family interview and we ask questions and we take photos and they're approved, then we have to call the school and we have to see if the school will approve them. Some schools have very specific requirements. Portland, for example, June 30th, they close their doors and they say, we're closed for the year. We're not going to accept any more students this year. Other schools will be open until September 2nd. Other schools like Salem Kaiser has an open enrollment policy. So you just have to know your school district and know who will allow what when. Um, Most of the schools in Oregon very are very good to work with. And as long as you know their rules and you play by their rules, we have a great relationship with them. Some of them will not accept 15-year-old students. Some of them have a specific language score that they require you to have, things like that. So we as the organization, we ask permission from the school. Hey, this family is interested in hosting. They're in your school district. They would like to host this student. Will you accept this student for the upcoming year? Once they give us approval, we go back to the family and we say, the school district has said yes to this student. Are you ready to proceed? And once they say yes, we go back to the overseas partner and we say, this family has said yes, they have met all the requirements for this program. And now you have been approved, this student has been approved. Once that's happened, it's like 3 to 7 days, depending on the time of the year. Then the student and the family can start having communication with one another. They get to know each other online throughout the year until they fly. Depending where you are in the United States, here in Oregon, our students fly in August. And so sometime in August, they'll fly into the United States. Family will usually meet them, usually in PDX. Sometimes we have families down in Eugene or whatever, but most of our kids come in through PDX. And within usually 2 weeks, they'll start school. We ask for welcome families. Welcome families are people who will welcome them into the community for 4 to 6 weeks. That is a trial for the family to see if hosting is right for them. Or maybe they're like, we can't, we're going to be in Argentina, we can't host, but we will get them here. And then once they're here, once there's a human here, it's far easier to get them than somebody on a piece of paper. We can
Right.
get them a home a lot easier because now they're a person. Um, or the family will be like, you know what, you're not taking the student from us. We love them. They're staying with us. We're going to make it work, whatever that might be. We have students that just come for the semester. Those are usually our Chileans or our Brazilians, a couple of our Germans, one or two Italians, one or two French. But most of our students come for the full year. You do not have to commit for the full year. You can commit for 6 to 8 weeks. You can commit for a semester. You can commit for the year. The whole point of that is, if it's not working out, we do not keep students in homes where it's not working out. And we have a 5-point process where we come in and we help and we assist throughout the year. We do monthly check-ins with the family. We do monthly check-ins with the students. We do 3 check-ins with the school each year. And we make sure that everybody's doing well. We're not just supporting the student. We're not just supporting the family. We're supporting the entire placement, the student, the family, and the school, because we want everybody to have a good relationship. If you pick a student, Sherry, and that student is not working out for you, we would not keep that student in your home for the year,
Right.
because
Right.
sometimes things just don't work out. That's life. We would
Personalities
move
and
the
stuff like that.
student, personality. Maybe you get sick. Maybe the student um, isn't what they said they were, or maybe they changed over a year and they're not the person they were a year ago.
Right.
So we find them a better fit. It's not anybody's fault. It just sometimes happens. And so then we
Right.
find them a better fit, and that's okay too. It's happened. It's happened to some of our people who have hosted 15 kids. This student wasn't the right fit for them.
Right.
Okay. And then we move
So
them. So even if you commit for that year, it doesn't mean that if something goes bad, you're stuck. We don't do that.
So I want to make sure I was checking the feed on Facebook and people couldn't hear you for some
Oh,
extent of this. I am, for the people on Facebook, I am recording this through Zoom. The full video will be up, if not later today, tomorrow. And so for those who are just tuning in, who can now hear us, I am here with Hope Walter. She's the local representative for with AYUSA. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to building a global understanding through student exchange. So AYUSA basically matches up how people who want to host foreign exchange students and the exchange student that needs to be hosted. And we are going through, she just helped us understand the steps to becoming a host and what people may be have some miscommunication on or may not fully understand. So the next question is there's a belief that you need to live in a big home or have a ton of money to host these kids. Can you speak to the kind of families that are ideal for this experience?
I would say there's no ideal family for our students. We bring in somewhere around 800 students a year to
Wow.
the United States. And to say that each student would need the exact same family is ludicrous. We take we take families that are single adults with no children. We take families who are married with no children. We have families that are part of the LGBTQA community. We have families that have small children. We have families that have teenagers. We have
Wow.
families that are grandparents. Um, you name it, we've got it. And some people are like, well, we're boring. We don't do anything. You know what? We have kids that are introverts that like to sit home and read and watch movies. We have families that go spelunking and like to go whitewater rafting and are running a marathon next week. And we have kids that like to do that. So there's no typical family and there's no perfect ideal family. I have moved kids out of mansions
Wow.
into double wide trailers and they
Wow.
were happier.
Wow.
So it has nothing to do with how much money you make. It has nothing to do how pretty your house is. Um, it has nothing to do with how many trips you take them on. And that is not an expectation. We expect you to have food in your house so that they can eat. We expect them to have a real bed, not an air mattress or a futon or a couch. We expect them to have the basic utilities and transportation to get to school. We do
Okay.
not expect you to drive them to every shopping mall or Disneyland, or we don't expect that. And they are told that when they come. Anything else is a bonus. What do our kids want? They want to be loved. They want to be accepted. They want to be a part of a family and they want to be supported. One of my kids one time said, do you think they're going to like me? That's what they want.
Yeah.
Isn't that what everybody
For sure.
wants?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so these kids are coming over, they're leaving their support system. They want to come to a family that will support them and love them just like they are.
Well, they're coming
That's
to a
it.
country where they have no roots, right?
Exactly.
So I would imagine that the people who opt into programs like this have a passion for doing that.
Sometimes, and sometimes it's just people who are willing to lend a hand, or they see a student that reminds them of their brother or their niece, or if it were me in a foreign country, I would like somebody to help me, or my sister, or
Right.
my daughter, or this sounds like fun, or there's so many
Right.
different reasons to do it. And I can't even begin to tell you how diverse our group of people are.
Right
I
on.
mean, my oldest family was an 83-year-old retired pediatrician who lived alone. And my youngest one was probably 20. I think we have somebody who's 25, married mom of two, and she's 25.
Wow. So
Yeah,
that would lead into the next question. What kind of support do students and host families receive throughout the exchange year?
right. And then that goes a little bit to the we call it the vetting process, getting a family vetted and set to take a student. So they fill out the application. This is in case you said some of your viewers couldn't hear. They fill out the application. We do the background check. We do the interview. We answer any questions that the family might have. They choose the student. We do not choose the student for them, but we will help them if they want help and guidance. Um, People like myself have done this for years, and I know which students I prefer to take.
Right.
So I will offer suggestions and advice as to which students I would choose and not choose. Um, and then once they become a host family, they do an online required Department of State orientation, which gives you the rules of the state. Like, you have to do this, you can't do this, those types of things. And then we have our own online orientation, and they're in like small little bite-sized pieces that says like, this is how insurance works for your student, this is how, safety, online safety and internet safety and cell phones work for your student. So just like little tidbits of like,
Oh,
these are how the things work. Then we do a meet and greet with all the other families. I'm down here in McMinnville, and for us, we really appreciate having a group that's connected. So we'll have 5 or 6 or 7 families, and it'll be like, oh, you know what, my student's at cheer, and I can't pick her up tonight. Can somebody else get her? And another family will be like, yeah, I'll bring her home, no problem. We like that connectedness. Like it's our AYUSA family, and we just help each other out. And
it's
so
community.
I really like to put students, community, of course, I
Right.
like to put students together so they have a buddy. Now and I call them their cousins. I'm like, these are like your cousins. Like you're together for the haul. Like get used to each other,
Right.
You might not
Right.
always like each other, but you're now family.
Right.
So we have 4 orientations a year. The first one is that meet and greet host family orientation. That's for the parents to like, okay, what do I do with them once I pick them up from the airport? I have to feed, I have to water them. Like, what do I do after that? How do I enroll them in those types of things? And then, real soon after they all come, we do a student arrival. They are quiet, they are shy, they are nervous, they are worried about their English. Even if it's perfect, they will think it's not. So then we will have some time with them to be like, hey, don't forget, you're not in your country anymore. You can't drink, you can't drive, you can't do drugs, you can't get married, you can't pierce anything on your body, don't get a tattoo, like all that, don't do these things, right? Like we give them the lowdown of like what not to do.
Right.
um Simple things like in the US homework is required. In their country it's not, most of them. So
Huh.
that's just something that they have to learn, that they don't automatically know. Things like that. So we have those kind of like cultural things like, hey, just remember, or like, hey, when you go to a restaurant, you get a free refill. Like they don't know that in their country. Like that's a
Oh,
really cool
wow.
thing for them. Oh, soda refills are fun. So we just talk about those kind of things and kind of get them to get to know each other, see who else is at their school so they have a buddy to eat lunch with the first day, that kind of stuff. So that's their second, that's the student arrival orientation. We do a mid-year where we kind of like get back with them and check on each other. How's everybody doing? How are your goals? We usually try to do, most people try to do a monthly activity. Down here in McMinnville, we do a monthly activity. Bowling, ice skating, go to the mall, go to the coast, whatever, just to get them together. Halloween parties, they love that, Christmas parties, stuff like that. And then for our USA, we do a monthly contact. Like I said, your community rep will email, call, text, or see you in person and ask you a series of questions. How are things going? How are your grades? How's your language? Are you homesick? How's your relationship with your family? Those types of things. Almost identical questions to the host family. And if those answers don't line up, we know that we have to have a conversation. And so that's where that mediation comes in. We will have a conversation. We will, if that doesn't work out, we'll have a 3-way conversation. If that doesn't work out, we'll sit down and we'll do a mediation. So we have like a 5-step process if there is an issue. Um, and then twice a year, we will physically go into the home and just check the home and make sure it's in the same status that it was when we arrived initially for that home interview, to make sure that it is still a safe environment. It is still a place where you would put your own child. Um, 3 times a year, we check into the school. We make sure that their grades are good. We make sure that their behavior is good. We make sure that their language is good, that they're not struggling. We do have some countries that their language is a bigger issue. And so we make sure that they are not struggling. And if they need tutoring, we make sure that that happens. And then, like I said, we do that mediation if we need it. But I mean, if we have 800 students, maybe 5 to 10% will go through a mediation.
Wow. Well, that's not too
Not
bad
a
at
lot.
all. Yeah.
But I mean, a mediation isn't a punishment, and it's nothing bad. Sometimes it's just teaching young adults how to communicate when you have a struggle. And there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Or
Yeah.
or the parents how to communicate, how to, you know, conquer their barriers and how to communicate with a teenager from
Yes.
another culture. right?
Yes. And sometimes it's a language thing, and sometimes it's cultural cues, and sometimes it's body language. I mean,
Yeah,
like, there's so many different things it could be, and every culture is different. So it's kind of like who done it? how do
exactly,
how do you
exactly.
figure out what this piece is? But I mean, that's part of the fun, right? You
Well, and
learn
that
something.
leads to the next question. Do you have a favorite story or memorable
Oh my gosh.
experience from a past student or host family that shows the impact of this program? And it sounds like you have something awesome.
I could have talked to you for like 6 hours on this, and I was like, which story could I possibly tell? But I'm going to tell you about a boy. So we have a special program that I haven't told you about, and it's called the YES program. It's the Kennedy Lugar um, Youth Exchange and Study Program. And this is a Department of State scholarship program. It has a 2.9% acceptance rate. That is harder to get into than Yale. It's
Wow.
harder to get into than Stanford, and it is equal to get into as Harvard. Harvard. Yeah. And anyway, so these kids are the
It's
best of
tough.
the best.
Right.
It is
Right.
super tough. We accept 700 students a year from these countries, and they are in the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Africa predominantly. Anyway, 3 years back, I had this boy come from India, and he called me his first day arriving, and he says, Miss Hope, I don't know where I am. There is no village. There are no people. All I see are fields. I do not know where I am,
Oh
because
dear.
he was from India, where it's very populated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had him out in a small rural community,
Mm-hmm.
farming community in the middle of Oregon, and he
Where
was
there's nobody.
dumbfounded. He did not know where he was. He did not know what to do. And I said, you know what? I said, you're fine. Your family's out farming right now. They were farmers. I said, why don't you go work on your presentation for your for India? You're gonna be fine. Oh, that's a very good idea. Thank you. This boy had never had a cell phone.
Wow.
He had never had a pair of tie shoes. He had never had a computer. And this very small town embraced him. He was at a school of 130 students.
Wow.
And the day he left, the entire senior class took him to the Indian restaurant in Salem, and they all went and celebrated him. And he had the time of his life. And the entire school, you can still ask the school about him, and the entire school remembers him. This little teeny tiny Indian boy. And they had other exchange students, but this changed his world. Like, he had
Wow.
never experienced any of the things that we had had here. And everything to him was a gift. Everything. It was amazing. And so, I mean, I could go on for days about the things he had done, the things he had experienced. He thought he was going to go out for football. And then when he saw these big farm
Yeah.
boys and he was maybe 100 pounds dripping wet, he was like, maybe I'll run track, which he
Maybe
did.
that's a good idea.
But our our kids, and this program's in particular, they are the world changers. I believe they said 1 in 3 will be future world leaders.
Well,
They change lives. These kids are set for greatness. And to have a small role to play in that is really special. I said in the beginning, you said, what do I wish people understood? I wish they understood that it might be an inconvenience sometimes. It might be a little hard sometimes. It might alter your world a little bit here and there, but you have no idea how much it's going to change the lives of your family, your community, your school, and that child's family across the world.
right.
It's life altering.
So, how can people learn more about AYUSA and the opportunities?
Well, you are welcome to get a hold of me. I can send you my information. We are a nonprofit educational organization, so it's just www.ayusa.org. That's our
Fabulous.
website. You can meet our students on there. You can fill out an application on there. You can find me on Facebook, Hope Walter, and I'm available. I'm local. I have somebody in Wilsonville. I have somebody in Hillsborough. I have somebody in Salem. I mean, we're all over, and we have 80 kids left to place. And really, we're trying to get it done by 31, July 31. We're trying
Wow,
to get
that's not
80
much
kids
time.
placed. Well, I mean, it's nationwide though,
Yeah,
so I'm not trying to place 80 kids in Oregon by then. But if we could place like 5 or 10 more here, I mean, Tualatin's wide open, Wilsonville, Lake Oswego, we have a lot of spots that we could really use some people, and we've got some fantastic kids.
right on. I am going to close this out now and thank you very much for your
Yes,
time and energy
thank you.
coming to tell us about this. And I will have a recording done and sent to you, if not today, tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sherry. We appreciate it.
Take care, Hope.
All right. Have a good one. Thank
Bye.
you.
You
All right.
too. Bye
Bye.
bye.